Hello viewers, welcome back to our channel Tree Something. In the last video, we spoke about the three steps involved in bargaining a deal. I would say those are the ideal steps one has to follow. But what would happen many times is that you emotions would get involved in the process. There would arrive a situation where there is a log jam and you don't know how to move forward. So today we'll talk about three things that we need to be conscious about while bargaining a deal or while having a difficult conversation or dealing with a person in a difficult situation. The first one is don't focus on people but on the problem. What happens is that when there is a problem, we tend to associate the problem with the person rather than the problem individually. We get carried away by the emotions involved. And let me explain this with a simple example. A factory worker is being allotted a night shift and a difficult job repeatedly. So he did it silently for 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and after that he gave up. He was very irritated, frustrated with the supervisor, and he always felt that the supervisor had a grudge on him, and that's why he's always allotting him a night shift and also a difficult role in the night shift. Now, this factory worker walked up to the factory head and complained about his supervisor that this guy is doing this with a grudge. Now, factory head asked him to continue his work while he deals with the problem and inquires and helps him solve it. After some time later in the day, the factory head calls the supervisor and asks him, why are you doing this to person? He is one of the brightest workers we have, and you troubling him repeatedly by allotting this night shift difficult job, he might leave us, and that's a big loss to the company. And now listen to what the supervisor has to say. He said, sir, I never knew that this worker felt he had a grudge on me and he hated the job. For me, this was one of the toughest jobs, and I don't have a better person to tackle it. I'm scared if this work is allotted to different person, they might not do it the great way this guy is doing. And I thought he liked the job and I liked the role, and that's why I allotted it. I'll definitely address it, but I did not know. See, the factory worker was focusing on the person, which is supervisor, and not on the problem, and that's where the whole problem is. Otherwise it would have been solved very easily by just focusing on the problem and talking to supervisor. Hope the first point is very clear. Now let's move on to the second one. Second one is focus on the interest and not on the position. So whenever there is a conversation, each person take a position that I want this, and he would say they want this, and that is a position. But behind the position there is a reason or an interest. So we need to know what is the reason or an interest behind it rather than just asking for a position. And let me again explain with a simple example. Two employees in an office or sitting, and they were having a argument, saying that one employee sitting here says, I want the window to be closed. One employee sitting a little further away says, I want window to be open. And they keep arguing over this for like 10 minutes. That one person wants window to be closed, the other person wants window to be open. And what do you think would be a solution to this problem? Because there is only one way, either window has to be closed or window has to be open. Here is where the second point comes in, where you look at interest or the why behind it. When this person is asked on why he wants window to be closed, he says there is a lot of fine dust coming in and that is disturbing his work. And when you ask the other person who is sitting little further away, he says it is very suffocating for me and I want fresh air. See, the reasons are different and they could be solved differently, but when you look at the position, you feel there is no solution to it. Now the final solution was that this window which is nearer to this person got closed, but then there is a window a little further away which is open, so it solves the fresh air for this person and they solve the dust problem for this person. So that's where we need to focus on the interest or the reason behind it rather than just hearing the position and going by it. Hope the second point was clear. Now let's move on to the third one. The third one is we need to invent a solution which is beneficial to both the parties and not to one. Or we always feel that a deal or a negotiation is always one person winning and one person losing. That should not always be the case. There could always be a solution which is beneficial for both the parties. And again, let me explain this with a simple example. Two kids fighting over an orange. There is only one orange and both the kids want it. Now, what would we do? We would cut the orange into two parts and give half to each of them, right? That we think to be a best solution. But is this best for this kid? No, he wanted a full orange. That would be the best situation, right? And this kid again, he would want a full orange, and that would be the best situation. Now, again, similar to second point, looking at why the kids actually wanted. If you ask the first kid, he would say he want to eat the orange. The second kid says he wants to play with the peel of the orange. Again, looking at the interest or the reason behind it, you would be able to solve the problem in a better way. And I don't need to tell you the answer now. So here is where we need to look for options which are mutually beneficial rather than focusing on one. There could be one more example that I can give, very simple one. Let's say you are buying flowers of 100 grams for 30 rupees. Now for the vendor, getting that 30 rupees is very important, and for me, getting value for money is important. So what I could do is ask him for like 120 grams of flowers for 30 rupees, so that he gets his 30 but I get little more flowers. And which is where arguing for 25 rupees for 100 grams, he would not be happy because he wants more money and he's fine giving away few more flowers. So here is where we need to understand the reasons or interest or mindset of the other person, and then look for mutually beneficial solution the way we play the negotiation game. Hope the 3 points are very clear. The first one is focus on the problem and not on the people involved. Second one is focus on interest or the reason behind it, not just on the position. Third one, do not compromise on sacrificing one deal for one thing or the other. You would want to look for a mutually beneficial solution that's good for both the parties. Hope these 3 points are very clear, and if you start using it in our daily life, that would enrich our way of living. And till then, thanks for watching.